Every country on Earth is in debt. The United States owes over $38 trillion, the highest in its history. The European Union owes around $14 trillion, Japan almost $9 trillion. Even oil-rich nations like Saudi Arabia or export giants like China and Germany, they're all in debt too. But think about it. If everyone owes money, who's the creditor? This is where history, money, and power collide, because debt isn't just a burden. It's the architecture of our world. Every war, every boom, every collapse sits on top of this invisible web of IOUs. And if you follow that chain far enough, you find something unsettling. The world doesn't owe anyone. It owes itself. But not everyone benefits the same way. Right now, global debt has passed $315 trillion. That's nearly 3 times the size of the world's economy. How did we get here? Let's rewind. Before credit cards, before stock markets, the story of national debt began with war. In 1694, England was fighting France and running out of gold. The king turned to merchants and said, "Lend me your money and I'll repay you with future taxes and interest." They agreed, and that's how the Bank of England was born. It was revolutionary. The state could now spend money it didn't yet have. From that moment, borrowing became power. The ability to take on debt became the ability to rule. Empires no longer conquered land for gold. They issued bonds for interest. The battlefield moved from the ground to the balance sheet. Fast forward a few centuries, and debt has become the world's biggest export. The U.S. owes $38 trillion, Japan $9 trillion, and the world adds another trillion every 100 days. Every country borrows, every bank lends, every citizen, through taxes, savings, and pensions, is both a debtor and a creditor. But here's the real question. Who's on the other end of the rope? Let's start with the U.S., because its debt isn't just national, it's global. Roughly half of that $38 trillion is held by investors. 2/3 of them are American: banks, pension funds, insurance companies, and the Federal Reserve itself. The rest, about $9 trillion, belongs to foreign nations like Japan, China, and the UK. So when people say America owes China, that's true, but only about 2% of the total. Most of America's debt is owed to America. The Treasury issues bonds, banks and funds buy them. The Federal Reserve prints dollars to buy them back. Americans pay taxes, those taxes pay interest, and the cycle loops back into their own retirement funds. It's like looking into a mirror. The debt is real, but the creditor is a reflection. And it's not just America. Japan lends to the US. The US lends to Europe. Europe lends to developing countries. Those same countries reinvest their reserves in Western bonds. It's a global game of hot potato. Only the potato is made of promises. Every nation holds someone else's IOU. Every promise backed by another promise. And the only rule keeping the game alive, nobody stands up. But behind all this is a fourth player, the most powerful one of all: the markets. Behind every government bond sits a web of hedge funds, banks, and central banks managing tens of trillions of dollars. They decide who gets to borrow cheaply and who pays for survival. When confidence cracks, currencies collapse, governments fall, and entire economies can be rewritten overnight. Democracy decides who governs. Markets decide who survives. And at the center of it all stands the modern high priest, the central bank. Central banks don't just manage debt, they manufacture it. Every time they buy government bonds, they create new money. Every dollar in existence is someone else's liability. There's no such thing as debt-free money. Every coin, every bill, every digital dollar carries an invisible IOU. This machine runs on one thing: confidence. As long as investors believe governments will pay interest, even if never the principal. The cycle continues, but when confidence breaks, we've seen what happens. Greece, 2010. Argentina, again and again. Sri Lanka, recently. When the debt becomes unpayable, austerity follows. Tax hikes, spending cuts, unemployment, unrest. The rich are rescued. The people pay the price. Then the same system restarts. Old debts replaced by new ones. New loans replacing old promises. Because in the modern world, debt isn't meant to be repaid. It's meant to be rolled over. Governments today don't plan to clear their debt. They plan to keep it alive. They treat debt like a subscription, renewing it forever. Interest becomes the real product. The rent we pay for stability. And here's the irony. Government debt isn't seen as a problem. It's an asset. Banks use it as collateral. Pension funds depend on it. Central banks treat it as money itself. If governments ever paid it all off, the global economy would collapse overnight. Because this system doesn't work without debt. It beats like a heart. Every pension,